play a chord here and listen if it makes you happy, if it's bright, or it doesn't make you sad, or is it dark, is it angry? So here it is. If you think that was happy, bright, and not sad, that's a major chord. You're correct. Now here, if you think that was sad, dark, angry, well, you're correct. That is a minor chord. All right, to truly understand how to build a minor chord, we need a staff. Don't worry, we're not talking about the musical staffs and how to read notes. We're just going to talk about the musical alphabet, all right? So in music, we use the 7 letters of the musical alphabet from A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay, think about that. 7 letters only. And then we pick a key. So any of these notes can be a key. So for example, the easiest key is key of C. So now we need to start from C. Let's rewrite that. C, D, E, F, G. There's no H. What happens is we just loop back to A, B, and then the next C. All right? But if you think about it, C to B is 7 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the next C is considered as the 8th. That's why we call it an octave. Now, to build a minor chord, or a major chord for that matter, we take the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th of any key or any note. For example, if we take C, for example, and build a chord in C, we take C as your 1, we take the 3rd note from C is E, and we take the 5th note from C, G. So you end up with C, E, and G. And if I play C, E, and G together, it will sound like this. That builds a major chord. It sounds happy. All right? Now, the same formula will apply inside this key of C. And all these notes here, we can build chords. Okay, so let's, for example, if you want to build a chord from D now, you take D, you take the 3rd letter from D, which is F, and then we take the 5th letter from D, which is A. You end up with D, F, and A. If we play them together, D, F, and A, it will sound like this. Listen if it's happy or sad. Now it sounds sad, so that is a minor chord, D minor, okay? So again, we can use the same formula to create or build a chord from the next note, E. And let's listen if it's happy or sad, okay? So first note is E, that's 1. The 3rd note from E is G. So we write down G here, E, G. And then the 5th note from E is B, so we have E, G, and B. If I play an octave of E, G, B below here on the piano, it sounds sad. So we build an E minor chord for E in the key of C major. And if you want to continue to build a chord on F, in the key of C, we take F as 1. We take the 3rd letter from F is A, so we have F, A, and the 5th letter from F is C. So we have F, A, and C. If I play an octave below, F, A, and C together, it sounds happy. So in the key of C, the chord of F in the key of C is major, and so on. Now here's a bonus side lesson about building chords on the staff. Don't worry, you don't need to know all the letters and the notes of the spaces and the lines of the staff. I just wanted to show you what it looks like if you write down notes on the staff and only on the treble clef, okay? We're gonna zoom in now on the treble clef here, and we're gonna put in the notes that we just discussed. Okay, from C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then the next C. All right, just these 8 notes. So the C on the treble clef staff, the first C that you're going to see is the middle C. We're going to use a quarter note. It looks like this. That's that. The D steps up here just above C, which has a ledger line like that. Okay, I made a double ledger line, but that's just a single line. That's called a ledger line. Okay, E, it starts here, the actual first line of the staff, and then F is on the first space, and then G is on the second line, and A is on the second space. B is on the third line. See? And the treble C, the next C, is on the third space. There you go. Those are the notes written on the treble clef. Now the chords is funny. If you want to know, not really funny, but the chords is quite easy. You see, if you know where the notes are on the musical staff, on the treble clef, to build a C major chord, just add an E note here and a G note, C, E, G. So we have C, E, and G together. And they will all look the same if you're making chords or building chords the way we did 1, 3, and 5 notes. So the D note here on the space will look like this. If the D minor chord in the key of C, it will look like this. They have equal distances from each other. That's D minor. That's D, F, and A. Same thing with E. If the E note is on the line, you skip. The third note is G, and then the fifth note is B, right here. So you get E, G, and B. So that is E minor. The F major has the same formula, F, A, and C, like that. So F, A, and C. That's F major. Now, F major chords are just written as is. The minor chords will have a small letter after the letter, okay? Small letter M. The G is a major, just so you know. G, B, and D notes here, like this. So it will have G, B, and D. And notice how it looks exactly the same. The distances from each group of chords or group of notes, the chords, if you stack them up like this, they have the same distance. Okay, this is what we call the triads, your basic root position triad. Now the A, to build a chord on A, same thing. A, skip C, and skip to E. A, C, and E. You get an A minor. And then the B chord here, same thing. If the B note is on the mid third line, you skip. Let's add a line here first. Let's put a D on the next line, and then the next line is an F. So you get a B, D, and F. This is a bonus chord. This is not minor. This is not major. The name, it's kind of a minor chord, but not. It's called a B diminished chord. B dim for short. Okay. Now that diminished chord, we talk about that later on in music theory. But for now, know that there are 3 major chords in the key of C, or in any key. In our situation, we're in the key of C. So 1 chord is major. We number them uppercase. The second chord is minor, lowercase. The third chord is also minor. The fourth chord is major, so we label that uppercase. And the fifth chord is also major. And the sixth chord is minor. We label them lowercase. So know that there are 3 major chords in any key, the first, the fourth, and the fifth. And there are also 3 minor chords in any key, the second, the third, and the sixth chord. The 7th chord is always the diminished chord. And the 8th chord is an octave, which is also a major. Now that you've seen the difference between minor and major sound, and also how to build minor chords, and also the major chords that I included in this episode, which is supposed to be only a minor, but I feel like it's very important to see the difference right away within the lesson. It's now up to you to find those notes on your fretboard and check out the chord charts, guitar chord charts. Google it. You'll find many chord charts, minor, major, and diminished chords in any key. Explore them, listen, and practice. And because the lesson took longer than expected, we're going to build the minor scale on our next lesson. So I hope this helps you out. I'll see you in the next episode. Good luck.